Giving Tuesday is a global effort that encourages people to do good.
Go to loveshriners.org.
This year, please support Shriners Children.
Go to loveshriners.org. Thank you.
A common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
We have on Professor Alan Dershowitz, who is joining us. Professor Dershowitz, great to have you here. Let's get to one of the big hot news stories. Hunter Biden, your reaction. We haven't had a chance to talk to you since the pardon happened.
Well, he certainly has vindicated my book at Trump. He has condemned the weaponization, condemned the lawfare, condemned singling out people. He could have been talking about Donald Trump when he said that. He could have been talking about other people in the Trump administration who were singled out for prosecution. But he, of course, focused only on his own son. But his general point is correct. There's been too much weaponization. It would have been so much smarter if he had done two things. If he had said, look, I'm going to start by pardoning all the January 6 people who were not violent because they were selectively prosecuted. Black Lives Matter people weren't prosecuted. They were prosecuted because they supported Trump. So I'm going to pardon or commute them. Then he would have been smart if he hadn't pardoned Hunter Biden, but simply commuted the sentence. Let me explain why. If he pardons Hunter Biden can be called in front of every committee, every grand jury, and asked any question about his uncle, about his father. He has no Fifth Amendment rights anymore. If it had just been commuted, if the sentence had been vacated, no sentences permitted, he can't go to jail, he'd still have his Fifth Amendment rights.
Now, Professor, Congressman King was in the studio yesterday with us, and he says to us, because he lives out in Nassau County, and he says to us, the feds are still looking for people that they haven't caught yet from January 6th. I mean, who is calling these shots?
Give it up. Give it up, guys.
Oh, it's terrible. January 6th, nonviolent people, and those are the people that are being sought now, have to be pardoned and commuted. I have a client who's a law school kid. He went to law school, graduated in the top of his class, couldn't get his diploma because he was indicted for going into the Capitol, having been waved in by the police. He didn't come to demonstrate. He came just to listen to Trump's speech, and then he was waved in. There are people like that. There are people who have been in jail for a long, long time. So, if Biden had made this part of a more general approach to pardoning and commuting, that would be one thing. But to have said he's not going to pardon and then pardoning really will hurt his legacy.
Professor Dershowitz, yeah, go ahead. John, go ahead.
Oh, well, Professor, there's so many other things happening. What's going on with
well, first of all, your reaction with Israel, what's happening, because Trump came out and said there will be hell to pay if those hostages are not released. First of all, by the way, I was so happy to hear that. We were talking about it yesterday. Biden should be pounding his fist. Biden should be saying, get those.
Well, should have done that 6 months ago.
Yeah,
you should have done it
day one.
Day one.
I agree.
And there are Americans there. And the job of an American president is to get his people home, to get his people back. But the United States under this administration has done very, very little. Look, Trump has already accomplished a lot before he even assumes office. He got Iran not to attack Israel in response to Israel's attack on its defensive systems. They had promised, they had sworn they would have a massive attack on Israel. As soon as Trump got elected, whoops, we forgot about that one because he knew Trump would give Israel the green light to go and destroy Iran's nuclear reactors, oil facilities, etc. So Trump has already done a great deal for Israel even before he became president, and we all expect a great deal more, not only for Israel but for America, for its place in the world, for its strength against the United Nations, condemning countries like Canada that said, if Bibi Netanyahu comes to Canada, we'll arrest him. You know what Trump should have asked him when he had dinner with Trudeau? Does that mean that if Donald Trump, get indicted by the International Court, you'll arrest me too? Because the precedent that would be set by arresting the Democratic leader of a country with the rule of law would apply to the United States as well. And the International Criminal Court would use that as a precedent to come after American soldiers, American generals, American presidents. So it's so important to undercut and undo the damage that was done by the International Criminal Court. You know, the International Criminal Court almost prevented the ceasefire in the north, the Hezbollah ceasefire, because what happened is Israel was negotiating with France, and as soon as France said, "Oh, we're going to arrest Netanyahu," Israel pulled out and said, "We don't want France to negotiate for a ceasefire if they would arrest our leader." And then France backed away and said, all right, we're not going to arrest him. He has immunity. But the damage done by the International Criminal Court is outrageous, which is why I put together this team of great lawyers. And every day I get more emails from people saying they want to join the team.
I don't blame. It is a noble mission. I'm telling you, it is so crazy. Go ahead, Judge Weinberg.
Alan, as we talked about last week, the International Criminal Court has no jurisdiction over the United States, has no jurisdiction over Israel. It's a renegade operation. And
it's above the law. It's above the law. It puts itself above the law, and it shouldn't be, you don't have jurisdiction over a country that didn't sign on the treaty. And that's what happened. And we should resist it, and we will resist it. I think Trump will resist it even more than Biden has resisted it.
Yeah.
Biden has said he doesn't recognize this, but Trump will go even further.
Craig Eaton.
I just want to go back to what you were talking about before, about the criminals on January 6th, and you made a great point about that. But what happened to all of the lack of exchange of exculpatory evidence?
Well, that's the problem. It's been delayed. In the meantime, these guys are in prison, some of them, without bail. They're presumed innocent, and they're still in prison. I think on day one, Trump is going to pardon a lot of the January 6 people and some others as well. And he's been given a green light to do this now, obviously. But
Professor, I don't think we know the real truth about January 6th either. I think there's a lot to be learned, hearing the Nancy Pelosi tapes, that she was shocked that Trump did ask for the National Guard,
right?
And some general said, shove it aside.
Well, I suspect that with Republican-controlled House and Senate, we're going to have many, many more hearings, and a lot more information will come out. Information about Hunter Biden, information about January 6th. That's what checks and balances is about. If you weaponize the criminal justice system, you have to turn to Congress to expose that weaponization. So our system of checks and balances is working well, and Congress will assume a major role and responsibility in bringing the truth out.
But, Professor, you hit it right on the head. There was a missed opportunity here. When Biden was going to go after give his son
the pardon, right?
Pardon. He had every opportunity there to pardon the people from January 6th. It would have been a great thing for this country going into the new administration, and I think it would have been perfect.
And he could have pardoned Trump.
We still don't know what goes on in the White House under the Biden administration.
Yeah, there's so many questions.
There's definitely an opportunity.
I know.
Yeah.
But they missed it.
They did. Professor?
But Christmas is coming, so who knows?
Professor Dershowitz,
thank you, Professor Dershowitz, and we'll
My
catch up
pleasure.
again soon. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Roger Stone here with an urgent warning. While we celebrate Trump's historic win, inflation continues to drain your IRA and 401k. And China is now targeting your money with a kill shot on the U.S. dollar. That's why thousands of Americans are shielding their savings with gold and contacting the experts at Colonial Metals Group. Gold has protected American wealth through every financial war. For a free 2024 gold guide that explains everything, go to freegoldguide.com/stone or call 800-747-6589. So go to freegoldguide.com/stone or call 800-747-6589. That's 800-747-6589 for a free 2024 gold guide to learn how you can protect your life's work, and if you qualify for a free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver right now. That's freegoldguide.com/stone.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.